Recording in progress.
Evening, everyone.
Evening again.
Evening again. Welcome to our January 23rd full board meeting of Community Board 11. My name is Xavier Santiago. I'm the chair of CB11. Just bear with me a second. Tonight we are joined by our district manager, Angel Mescane, our assistant district manager, Khalid Nixon, and our community liaison, Marlene Pierre. In order to conduct an efficient meeting, let's observe a few ground rules. 1, no one may speak until granted the floor. 2, CB11 members, if you have a question or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized. You should not engage in a back and forth discussion. The chair will recognize the next person to speak. Members attending via Zoom can find the raise hand button by first clicking the participants icon to access the panel where that button is located. If you have any technical issues, please relay your difficulty to the staff in the chat. The chat should not be used to discuss or pose questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record. Please keep your questions and comments brief and on topic to the discussion. Members of the public can register to speak in the public session by completing the pre-registration form and or providing their name, affiliation, and the topic of their comments. A link to the registration form has been shared in the chat, as well as at the front at the sign-in desk. The link is also accessible from the meeting agenda. Registration for the public session will close at 7:15 p.m. We will now take attendance.
Hello? Yes. Okay. Good evening, everyone, again. Please listen carefully to your name as I will call you twice for your attendance here tonight. Be mindful of others and no background noise, please, and thank you. Okay. Jose Altamirano? Jose Altamirano? You gotta say present, my friend. Stephanie Arroyo? Stephanie Arroyo? Okay. April Autry? Thank you. Mark Bogurski? Okay. Adem Brija? Thank you. Kareem Kauser? Kareem Kauser? Okay. I didn't hear that. Devan Cronshaw? Sorry if I misspelled. Devon Cronshaw? No, here. Kenneth Crouch? Thank you. Carlos Diaz? Carlos Diaz? Okay. Rosa Diaz is myself. Angela Donadell? Okay. Jessica Elliott? Thank you. Judith Febraro? Thank you. Brandon Gillespie? David Giordano? John Green? Thank you. Annie Hansen? Annie Hansen? Wanda Hopkins? Wanda Hopkins? Okay. Christina Johnson? Thank you. Jewel Jones? Thank you. Sharon Lynch? Thank you. Beverly McFarlane? Okay. Giselle Malave? Thank you. Sage Mason?
Present.
Yes, he sent, yeah, he's excused. Yes, yes. He sent an email. I don't know about the phone. Malik McCullough? Malik McCullough? Jennifer Mayer? Alicia Miranda? Alicia Miranda? Okay. Jessica Morris? Jessica Morris? Okay. Nilsa Orama? Thank you. Beverly Pavone? Thank you. Claudia Perez? Thank you. Nicholas Reyes? Thank you. Asher Rodriguez? Thank you. Eugene Rodriguez? Thank you. Don Sanders? Thank you. Xavier Santiago? Isaac Scott? Thank you. Russell Schuler? Thank you. Loretta So? Loretta So sent an email saying she's sick. Okay. Vincent Torres. Thank you. Amarie Vasquez. Amarie, sorry. Thank you. Jason Villanueva. Gracias. Thank you. Candy Vives Vasquez. Candy Vives Vasquez.
I'm here by Zoom. I'm out sick as well.
Thank you. Michelle Wilshire Clements. Yeah, okay. And Jason Wu. Jason Wu. Okay. Okay.
Thank you, everyone, for your patience. The agenda for tonight's meeting. The agenda for tonight's meeting was distributed ahead of time by the board office and was posted on the website's meeting calendar. If there are no objections, we'll adopt the agenda as stated. Board members, if you object to adopting the agenda, you may raise your hand and wait to be recognized. Seeing no objections, the agenda for tonight's meeting is adopted. Next, we have our pre-registered speakers who have 3 minutes each. Candy, did you wish? Okay. Next, our pre-registered speakers that you have 3 minutes each. Our recommendation is to take 2 minutes to speak and then allow for 1 minute for questions. A few ground rules for those wishing to speak. 1, you must sign up to give testimony and providing your name and affiliation. 2, you will be allowed 3 minutes to speak. 2, you'll be allowed 3 minutes to speak. 3, you should address your testimony to the board, not the public. 4, should speak clearly and into the microphone. 5, should be prepared to respond to the board member questions in order to clarify facts and opinions presented in your comments. Board members should only ask clarifying questions. Commentary will not be entertained. And prior to that, I'd like to welcome up Jerry Gallagher with the Museum of City, New York, our great host this evening for this meetings.
I'm not good at projecting, so I need to make sure I use the microphone. Welcome, everyone. As Xavier said, my name is Jerry Gallagher. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for the Museum of the City of New York. We're so happy to host you all this evening. And I just want to take 2 quick minutes of your time to let you know about a brand new exhibition that has opened up upstairs called Byzantine Bembe, which is exploring the visual storytelling of El Barrio's own artist and mosaicist, Manny Vega. So we hope you'll come and visit the exhibition. As you may know, and if not, I would like to remind you that all people who live and work in the East Harlem area are welcome to visit the museum for free. When you come, just say, I'm a neighbor, give your zip code, and they'll give you free admission. And anything after that is also just pay what you wish. Children 19 and under are always welcome for free. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much for hosting us. Next, we have from Borican Health, Dr. Adam Aponte. You have your 3 minutes.
Good evening. All right, the call and response is coming along. So thank you very much for inviting me. My name is Dr. Adam Aponte. I am the Chief Executive Officer for what's called actually the East Harlem Council for Human Services, which a lot of folks don't know our name. It is actually an organization that was created over 60 years ago, close to 60 years ago, actually incorporated April 22nd, 1965, a little bit before I was born. And, you know, I think most folks know our program at the Borinquen Neighborhood Health Center, which is located now on 123rd and 3rd Avenue, originated in Wagner Houses, moved to Taino, and in 2014, we established residence in a new building that we have secured on the corner of 123rd and 3rd. As I said, I am the newly appointed CEO of the organization, but I've been with the organization for 3.5 years, serving as the Chief Medical Officer. So I just want to come and introduce myself to this board, to this body, as I plan to get more involved with the community. By way of facts, I'm actually East Harlem resident. I was born and raised in East Harlem. As Anne-Marie loves to say, the upper East Harlem, because I was born on 97th Street between Park and Madison. But this is my hood. And I represent it very well and really proud to be serving in this capacity. Went to school at City College of New York and actually attended Mount Sinai School of Medicine for medical school and pediatrics, a place that I actually, said I was going to go to medical school when I was 4 or 5 years old, when I came up with this daring dream to become a physician. So proud to be back in my community, serving this community, and serving at Borinquen, which is an organization that I knew for many, many years, knew the former CEO, Ellie Sanchez. I'm sure many of you who've been around for a minute, as we say, knew Ellie very, very well. and knew her spiciness for really working for the residents of East Harlem and really building this, building that we sit on now and sit in, and the shoulders that we stand upon, despite how short Ellie was. So, what I want to share was a little bit more about the council, because I want you to understand the council because it runs various programs. The first program actually that we created that still exists today is our bilingual Head Start program. We were one of the first in New York City to develop a bilingual Head Start program. And we have two sites, one on 116th Street, just off First Avenue at Mount Carmel. And then we have another site in Schaumburg on 111th Street. So those are two programs that we have in existence for quite some time. Then we have a senior nutrition program at Casabe. That we run for seniors. And we have school-based health centers at PF7, PS 112, and PS 155. So several programs. And of course, our health center on 123rd and 3rd is sort of the jewel of our crown. It serves the community. It's what's considered a federally qualified health center. For those of you who are not familiar with that, we're designated under HRSA, Health Resource Service Administration, to serve in underserved communities. And East Harlem, I think many of you know, is considered underserved community. That faces a lot of health disparities, a lot of health inequities. And evidence to that fact is the fact that in this community, there are 3 FQACs. So there's Borinquen on 123rd and 3rd, you have Settlement Health on 106, and you have Institute for Family Health, right? And so by virtue of the fact that you have 3 of these located in a square mile is evidence that there is a lot of need in this community. Otherwise, HRSA would not allow us to exist in this community. We serve everyone regardless of your ability to pay. You walk through our door, we take care of you. We don't care about immigration status, insurance status, sexual orientation, nothing. You walk in, we take care of you. And we do everything from womb to tomb is the way I like to describe it. So prenatal care all the way through the life cycle. As a matter of fact, we just relaunched our prenatal care program in September of 2019 after several year hiatus. I thought that was really critically important that we provide that level of care to our community. And since September 2022, we've given birth to 31 babies at Borinquen. So we're really ecstatic about that. And yeah,
Thank you.
Applause. That's good stuff. And then, everything else, pediatrics, adult medicine, behavioral health services, care management. We have specialists in-house as well. We try to meet the needs of our community and bring specialists to them. We try to be this one-stop shopping to help people navigate this complicated healthcare system of ours, right?
Thank you.
Super complicated. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
that was 3 minutes?
That was 4, actually.
That was
Give me a little
3
extra. It's your
minutes.
first time here.
In conclusion,
No,
thank you.
Give us your contact information, please.
So I'm at 2265 3rd Avenue, 212-289-6650, extension 222. Again, Dr. Adam Aponte, and happy to take any questions.
Any questions from our board members? I think, your question.
What happens if a person, let's say, has cancer?
Yes.
Can they come to your facility or they can't?
We won't take care of their cancer, but we diagnose many patients with cancer in our facility. And then we work with our partners, Mount Sinai, Metropolitan, or depending on their insurance, we'll send them to whatever hospital they need to. And we help them to, again, navigate that process. We actually have Health Navigator. They'll help take patients to appointments, make sure they get there, make sure they understand what's being said to them, right? We get that diagnosis of cancer. A lot of people they turn off at that point. And so we don't take care of them at our health center, but we facilitate getting them that specialty care that they need.
Wonderful. It's a good question. Yes, Anne-Marie.
2020 during COVID, that vaccine came in.
Yeah, so I joined the organization in July of 2020, and we were the first health center to, first of all, stand up testing for the entire community. And then once that vaccine became available in January of 2021, we fought the good fight to get that vaccine made available to us because we knew that folks in this community were not going to go to a Javits Center. They weren't going to go to City Field to get vaccinated, get a vaccine put in their arms that they didn't know nothing about. They trusted us. And so we really fought. And we were the only health center for 2.5 years up until actually July of 2023 that had 6-day-a-week availability of both Pfizer and Moderna vaccines open to anyone, regardless of your ability to pay, walk in by appointment. You came to us, we vaccinated. And in that period of time, we vaccinated thousands of individuals in East Harlem and from other surrounding communities.
Thank you. Thank you.
She's a plant in the audience. This is my director of marketing.
Yeah, and Anne Marie, one of our board members, also works at Puerto Rican. Thank you very much. And I'd recommend Isaac Scott is our Chair of Human Services. You two should connect. Thank you. All right, wonderful. Okay, moving on. We're going to go down the list. I have Taina Traverso from Maine East Side Environmental Justice. There you are. Come on up. You got your three.
Okay, as he mentioned, my name is Margarita Traverso, Taina. Okay. So what I wanted to do was introduce you to the Manhattan East Side Environmental Justice, which was newly born. It's about 4 months old. And actually, this particular environmental justice was born because what many of you don't know is that the East Side quality of air is very poor compared to the West Side. The West Side air is much better than the East Side because if you think about Central Park and all these major parks, of course, you're going to have better air filter going through there. So we came together with the mission, and then I'll read it to you very quickly. This is not. It takes a doctor to fix it. Thank you. Okay, so the mission is to educate, evaluate, and commit to solutions to actively contribute to equalizing Manhattan's East Side air quality compared to the West Side. Long-term, collectively, we will stay abreast with the status of climate change to evaluate how to mitigate climate injustice to sustain a global quality of life using visionary electricity. Right? We want to make sure that we stick to this particular vision, which is very important. And so we do have members that you may be in contact with and know. And one of them, I just want to recognize her, is Jessica Morris. So we want to make sure that you know who she is. And we want to thank you for participating. We have more people. So if you want, and of course, we have can I make mention of your name? Okay. So we have the borough president who's going to report that his assistant, and that's Porfirio. So he's also another member, and they're quite a few of them that's here. So we want to thank them for the work that we're doing. So to educate the public, what we're going to have is our very, very first environmental justice parade that's going to be taking place. So if you are interested in more information, please take my number, which is 646-331-8956. Taina Traverso. For more information, please come and speak to me. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, we're going to have Daniel Flores from Small Business Services. And for those that are publicly registered speakers or representative electeds, you can look up at the screen and you'll see your 3 minutes tick down. So, welcome.
And I have 4 quick flyers right here that I left back there. First one is our workforce development program. So we help people with workforce development. I have some information here. We have amazing workforce development centers that we provide to New Yorkers as well as new New Yorkers, which are some of the migrants that are coming here right now. Emergencies, they happen all the time. SBS has a lot of tools and resources to help out with emergencies, whether it be accelerating government operations, helping to resolve insurance issues, free legal advice, which is amazing. And I know a lot of businesses definitely need that now. So I have information on that over here on this flyer. The other flyer, if you're an MWBE, Minority Women Business Enterprise, the government is looking out specifically to help contract those people for government services, whether it be catering or any other services the government might need. So I have information over here on how, if you're a business owner, how you can sell directly to the government. And finally, If you need assistance with a business lease, we have some information over here as to what are some of the services that small business services offer for business lease assistance. So without further ado, I know you guys have a long agenda ahead of you guys. I don't want to take up too much of your time. If you have any questions, I'd be more than glad to take them. And thank you again to the chair and to the amazing Manhattan Community Board 11 for giving me a little bit of time to speak today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any questions? Yes, Giselle.
Hey. So we have our information here. I'm in communication with leadership of Community Board 11. If there's information specifically that you're looking or to request, I can touch base with you right after I finish speaking, give you my business card. And if you have any questions or want to stay up to date, reach out to me, shoot me an email. I'm going to be here for a couple more minutes. So if to anyone else that wants to flag me, I'm sitting down right there. I'll be more than glad to give my business card out.
Okay.
And my cell as well. Any other questions?
No.
All right.
Wonderful. And that's Giselle Malave, who is the chair of economic development and culture. So you two should connect and come present to her committee.
Looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Mr.
Thank you
Chairman.
for being here.
Have a great day.
Okay, next we have our Eugene Rodriguez from the with the Julia de Burgos Cultural Arts Center. You have your three.
Don't start it yet. Every second you can get, right? Is this on? Okay. Thank you for recognizing, Mr. Chairman. So I don't know if it was a result of my efforts, although I'm happy to take credit for it, or that time just ran out on them. But the bottom line is that the Hispanic Federation is finally out of the Julia de Burgos Cultural Center. Hooray! Well, now the problem is, we as a community face is, who is going to manage the building? The Department of Cultural Affairs or the Economic Development Corporation, which are the two that are involved there now. What are they going to do about the charter school that inhabits half of the building and doesn't pay rent? When is the city going to post the RFP for the new contract? And what will that contract stipulate? And what will be the conditions that are involved in that contract? But most important for me and my fellow Latino theater artists is, what are they going to do to program the Miriam Colon Ballet Playhouse? In my considered opinion, the charter school should leave the building. They're not a cultural organization. There's no cafeteria in the building. There's no gymnasium, and the building doesn't have enough fire exits. They shouldn't be there in the first place. Giuliani pushed that building on, pushed that group onto us, saying that they were going to be the prime tenant. They get a 20-year lease. The two poor cultural organizations at Daler and Planeros get a month-to-month lease, which they can't even fundraise on. So the charter school should be out. The Department of Cultural Affairs should manage the building. You got to know that the city manages the building. The Hispanic Federation doesn't manage the building. They just manage the two spaces. And all they do is rent them out, and they don't even do that. The RFP should be posted this spring and stipulate that a local community group be empowered to turn the Julia de Burgos Cultural Center into an artist incubator. And lastly, lately I heard that the city is in negotiation with the charter school to take over the whole building. We cannot allow that to happen, bottom line. So I'm asking my folks on the community board and folks in the neighborhood to form an ad hoc committee to save the Julia de Burgos. And I would, anybody, they got my email. My company's name is the El Barrio Theater Group, 212-289-0208. My email is eugenius442@Earth. Don't laugh at Earthlink. You're laughing at the Earthlink, right? Earthlink.net. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next, we have Nicole Myers from SAVE. You have your three.
Hi, everybody. So Xavier called me today and said, I need you here. And I understood why. And I appreciate his partnership, and I'm happy that we're reestablishing that. So real quick, I work for Getting Out and Staying Out, which is here to reduce recidivism through education, employment, and emotional well-being. But I'm here to represent SAVE, which is Stand Against Violence East Harlem. And so that's the care violence program that strategizes, that leverages the experience of members of the community to do outreach, including people who have been effectively directed by gun violence. The care violence program approach is to detect, interrupt, and identify, and change the thinking and behavior of the highest risk individuals and change the group of community norms that we serve. So we're located in listen, everybody says Stand Against Violence East Harlem as though it's the whole East Harlem. I wish we could serve the whole East Harlem, but right now we're in Wagner, Jefferson, and Johnson. And so we're here to basically violence prevention, intervention, education and career development, emotional well-being, community engagement, and advocacy. And so we have 3 components to the program, which is our hospital violence intervention program, and we're located in Harlem Hospital. And we partner up also with Street Corner Resources on the West Side. And then we're also in, like I just mentioned, some of the housing developments. So we do the street intervention program. And then the last program now is we have a contract with ACS. So we work in Horizon Juvenile Detention Centers doing programming there daily. And we just got a contract with Democracy Prep Charter School. I'm a proud mom of a Democracy Prep kid. So I'm happy to have that partnership in Taino because I know they had some problems. So they asked us to come in. And so we started our partnership in February. So I just wanted to come and represent, East Harlem Save. If you guys need me, I'm not staying the whole time, but Xavier has my information. You guys can reach out. GOSO was once located on 116th and Madison Avenue. They moved to 124th Street in the IRS building on 2nd Avenue. And we had 2 locations. Unfortunately, the Wagner location got shut down, but we're moving to the main building. So that Wagner site will be in the main building on 124th. I'm on 117th Street between Park and Madison. So thank you so much, Xavier, for inviting me. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, I'm here.
Okay. Any questions? Yeah, Malik.
Yes, I do. How we can make this? Sorry. Yes, Malik.
Yep.
I'll give you my card and everything. Yes.
Could you say it for the record for us, please?
My number? Sure.
Yeah, please.
So it's GOSONYC.org. And my phone number is 917-582-5779. And I'll bring you my card.
Great. Thank you. And you should check in with our Youth and Education, Human Services chairs and vice chairs. You have Asher Rodriguez, David Giordano, and Isaac Scott back there. Thank you. Next, we have Kevin Powell from Harlan Children's Zone. Welcome.
Good afternoon, good evening, right? Yeah, that's better. How you doing? My name is Kevin Powell. I'm a community organizer for Harlem Children's Zone. I've been with the organization for about 17 years now. I've been currently a community organizer for about 3 years now. We have some free programs here. We're located on 2037 Adam Clayton, which is on 122nd Street. We do... Okay. And we also are located on Salem Community. I'm gonna just read things off because I usually have my speech, but I'm gonna be quick about it. But we are located on Salem Community Pride Center, which is Monday through Friday, located on 211 West 129th Street. We have a GED program there. We also have free tax prep. Now, the free tax prep is in 4 different sites, It's at ACZ Community Pride, which is 2037 Adam Clayton Powell, Salem Community Center, which is 211 West 125th Street, Jeffrey Canada Center, which is 35 East 125th Street, and the West Side Community Center, which is 245 West 129th. It will start on January 29th through April 15th, 2014. That is the free tax prep assistance. Any other questions? And I have a flyer you could scan if you want to schedule an appointment. Also, we have free salsa classes, free salsa classes at the Jeffrey Canada Community Center. And that goes on Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m. at the Jeffrey Canada Center at 35 East 125th Street. We also have adult fitness classes, which are located on 40 West 143rd Street. We have the open fitness from 9 to 11. On Mondays and Tuesdays, we have on Wednesdays, open fitness from 9 to 11, and from Thursdays, 9 to 11 as well, and Friday. Saturday programs are 9 to 9:45, cardio dance 9:30 to 10:30, and yeah, that's about it as far as with that. And a free community tennis. Which has started from October 23rd to May, and it will end May 17th, 2024. It's at the Armory, which is 40 West 143rd Street. And those are the activities that we have going on so far. If anybody has any questions, please let me know.
Any questions?
Yes.
Your
Yes,
contact information, please. Could you just state it for the record, please?
I don't know my job work number offhand, sorry.
You had a question, Malik?
Just
For clarification, Saturdays are daytime?
yes, Saturdays is daytime.
You said 9 to 11 on Friday, that's PM,
Yes,
and then Saturday 9 to 11.
AM, yes.
Anne Marie.
Is that for the community and?
For the entire community, children, seniors, everyone.
Wonderful. While we get your information, the next up,
And
go ahead.
my phone number is 347-413-4892.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much.
Sorry, I'm squinting.
Yeah, don't worry. Welcome, though. Taisha Smalls, WEAC for Environmental Justice.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Taisha. I'm the community organizer for WEAC for Environmental Justice. My contact information is 646-983-7073, and my email is Taisha, TYISHA @weac.org. So I just have a couple updates for you guys. First thing is our membership meeting is every second Saturday of the month. So our next membership meeting is February 10th from 10 to 1 p.m. We're going to be talking about Black History Month and, of course, Dominican Heritage Month. And we also will be talking about our Beauty Justice Bill. So please come and join us. It's going to be at 454 West 155th Street. So if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to contact me. I also have some flyers outside. Our second thing is that we have 7 working groups and that we focus on environmental justice. And one of our working groups that just been introduced is our civic engagement in Spanish. So you get to learn a lot about environmental justice in Spanish. So our next working group meeting for that will be February 8th, and we'll be talking about lead. So if you are interested, you're more than welcome to go to our website, which is weac.org/events, or you can email the person of the group is Marilady. It's MARILEIDY.PIMENTEL@weac.org. And last but not least, last year, WEAC has partnership with NYSERDA to launch the Manhattan Clean Energy Hub. This hub is connected to thousands of tenants, nonprofits, small business, and affordable homeowners to low and no cost renewable energy upgrades. So if you can sign up if you're interested at the Manhattan Clean Energy Hub.org. Thank you. Any questions?
Okay. Don't see any questions. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next, we have Thara Nuguez from Reading Partners.
Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Tara Nug, and I'm the Community Engagement Manager with Reading Partners in New York. I see the timer did not restart. Just want to make sure it does. Yeah. Gotta get these 3 minutes. Yes, so I'm Tara Nug. I'm the Community Engagement Manager with Reading Partners, and I'm super excited to be able to introduce the work that Reading Partner does in the East Harlem community. So you're probably wondering what Reading Partner is. We are a literacy nonprofit organization that focuses on early literacy in elementary public schools. Our goal is to provide reading support through twice weekly one-on-one tutoring session at no cost to the students. So we recruit and train community volunteers to deliver those lessons. We currently partner with 20 reading centers in 4 boroughs, and we enroll about 50 to 70 students per reading center. We have a long-standing partnership with PS 171 Patrick Henry Prep, which is a school located on the exact same block you are currently holding this meeting. We are also partnering with PS 375, PS 108, PS 102, PS 96, and River East Elementary. All these schools are located in the East Harlem community. And we work with young students from the kindergarten through the 4th grade who are between 6 months to 2.5 years behind in reading. These students are usually referred by their teachers and assessed to participate in our program. So our curriculum is aligned with state standards and the science of reading, and our trained volunteers are able to implement best practices to teach young children to become proficient readers. We really create a lesson plan that includes phonics, phonemics, vocabulary, fluency, and comprehension instruction to support our students to the best of our ability. Our curriculum is proven to work. We assess students 3 times during the school year to gauge their progress and to adjust the instruction according to the results of these assessments. Last year, 82% of students enrolled reached their literacy growth goals. And additionally, there is an MDRC study that was conducted externally that concluded that Reading Partners had a positive and statistically significant impact on student reading proficiency. Our work is deeply rooted in the commitment to educational equity that we have and to providing support in the neighborhoods where we are most needed. Unfortunately, only 32% of 4th graders in the country currently read at grade level. It's a very low and sad number, and studies have shown that students reading below grade level in elementary public schools are more likely to drop out of high school and less likely to attend college. So I'm really here today to raise awareness about the literacy crisis happening in the country and to ask you to help share the word about Reading Partners and to support our efforts to engage with principals, schools, community organization, and other neighborhood institutions so that we can continue to provide high quality free tutoring lessons to 1,300 young kids in East Harlem and across New York. You can contact me at volunteer.ny altogether at readingpartners.org or at 646-395-3831 for further information. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share a few words about Reading Partners.
Thank you so much. Any questions? Nope. Thank you for joining us. Next, we have Jasmine Lawrence from Cayuga Centers.
Good evening, Community Board 11. My name is Jasmine Lawrence. I'm the Media and Community Specialist at Cayuga Centers. We're a family services agency serving New York City. I think I've spoken a couple of times at this board meeting, but I did want to announce that our new annual report has been released, so I'll be dropping that off for the community board to review in case that prompts any questions. I'll be happy to come to any subcommittee meeting to discuss further. And I also want to share, we do serve, we provide foster care here in New York City, as well as for our unaccompanied children's program. And so we are always looking for foster parents who speak Spanish, but over the last few weeks, we are in need of Creole speaking foster parents that we've gotten in a large number of intakes for that speak Creole. And so we're really reaching out to the community to see if we have people who are interested in becoming foster parents and supporting youth in our care who can speak that language. Like I said before, my name is Jasmine Lawrence. My email address is jasmine.lawrence@cayugacenters.org. And we are located at 1916 Park Avenue. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any questions? Yes, Tina. Yeah, go ahead, real quick.
She mentioned she speaks of Haitian population or Jamaican population.
Which Creole are you referring to, Jamaican or Haitian?
Haitian Creole. Thanks for clarifying. Haitian Creole.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, any other questions? Yes, hey, Don, your question.
But I do remember that we did hosting children who were separated from their parents some years ago. That have we reunited all of those children, or do we still have children who are not reunited with their parents?
Jasmine, is that something you're able to answer?
I actually couldn't hear. It sounds a little far away.
So we wanted, years ago, we'd worked with foster kids getting placed in homes and getting them reunited with their parents. Have you, to the best of your knowledge, can you speak to whether or not those children over the years ago have been reunited with their parents?
Oh, got it. Yeah. So that is our mission, to unify families. Our discharge rate is around 0 to 28 days. So if it happened years ago, they definitely they're no longer in our care. So they've either been united with their families or are back in U.S. ORR custody. But typically the flow of the experience is that child arrives at the border, they're deemed that they're alone and not with an adult. They then are sent to third-party providers like Cayuga centers, where we provide them transitional foster care and place them in homes until we're able to unify them. Right now, our average is 28 days, but our goal is always to make it shorter.
No, thank you.
Next time it comes back, to just clarify, in the last presidential administrations, children were separated from their parents at the border. And we had about 200 or so children in that with us. And next time, if you could go back and find out if those children were ever reunited, that was past administration, but I still in the future would like to know what happened to those children.
Okay, so in case you didn't hear, you're being sent away, Jasmine, with a little bit of homework.
Okay.
The previous administration separated a lot of children at the border, and as you know, there was a significant intake within our communities here, and we'd like to get an update on those children that came through during the previous administration. So if you'd be so kind as come back next month to report on that, that would be very helpful. Okay.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you. One last publicly registered speaker, and then we're going to move into our elected officials reports. Pilar de Jesus. We could.
Hola. Yes, thank you. So really quickly, thank you for adding me at the last minute. I appreciate it. I just really personally just want to encourage, since this is a full board meeting, I know that the sheriff has come out to the committee meeting and we've probably seen it all in the TV, but I just wanted to just say this here and for folks that are there in person and who maybe listen to this. And I just wanted to encourage us as a community to really hold these illicit shops that are in our community accountable. I personally walk into these shops and I have a discussion with them about how they're creating a problem. You know, one, because I worked on this legislation for a decade, and it's taken away the work that we as advocates and what legislation does for us and why we wrote the way the legislation is. And so I just want us as community, I'm all about supporting my peoples that, I've been supporting for many years, but a lot of these illicit shops that we see coming in our neighborhood, I just saw a new one on 115 and First Avenue, and that's where Avenida was. If you all know, that was a Mexican restaurant, and that landlord specifically did not want to renew their lease. And I'm curious, is it because he wanted to have this illicit shop there that now is operating? So I just want to encourage people, like, I understand that people have a lot of misconceptions when it comes to cannabis. Oh, the regulated weed is more expensive. It's not that good. blah, blah, blah. Again, these illicit shops, a lot of the weed that they have, we don't know. And I want us as a community to remember that a lot of these same illicit shops were the same illicit shops, the same people who were selling our community and our kids K2. So they don't respect the plant like many of us do. And I just want us, if we can, to just be little vigilantes and like, no, what you're doing is not only are you taking away the tax revenue that's supposed to go back to our community, like East Harlem, but you're also not providing quality medicine and you don't care. And so I'll stop there because I got 45 seconds. And thank you so much for letting me speak.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the brevity. Any questions? Okay. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Pilar. We're going to move along in our agenda tonight. We're now going to have our elected officials reports. We've asked that the elected officials or their representatives complete the registration form if they wish to give a report. A link to the form has been shared in the chat. The link is also accessible from the meeting agenda. We ask that any event service literature be sent to our office so that we may post or share it as is appropriate. Please keep your report to 3 minutes and be mindful not to repeat what others have already mentioned. And first off, I'll acknowledge our Deputy Speaker, Ayala. Diana.
Thank you. I am off camera. You guys don't want to see this. I'm recovering from COVID still. I'm better, but not 100%. So I'm doing you a favor. Happy New Year, everyone. I hope everybody's doing well. There is a very contagious, vibrant of COVID and flu and RSV out there. Please be very careful and wear your masks if you're in spaces where there are a lot of people. I wanted to kind of just remind everybody that we're in the middle of the budget dance has begun. The mayor has announced his preliminary budget. What that means is that he has announced what his priorities will be. And in March, we at the city council will be facilitating a number of hearings to have a more thorough discussion on those announced plans. And then the council will respond to the mayor, and then in May we'll hold a second set of hearings on the executive budget, and then we'll negotiate through June. Applications are now available for both discretionary and capital dollars through our office and through the city council initiative fund. So please, feel free to submit an application if you're interested. Discretionary is only available through mid-February. So make sure to note that so that you don't miss the opportunity if that's something that you're interested in. Sendero Verde has their housing application process is already open. So if anyone here, can share that information far and wide, it would be really great to try to, ensure that folks in our neighborhood know that those applications are available and that those apartments will be housed relatively soon. Timbale Terrace, we are still in negotiations. It passed the borough board. It passed through borough board. And then it also went through city planning recently and it passed there as well. So it now gets to the land use division at the city council. Many of you know my position. I support the project. There were 2 concessions that I needed. One was the increased number of 3-bedroom units, and 2 was the change in the population of supportive housing units. So I support the supportive housing unit component. I don't support the type of supportive housing that they were recommending. So we are still in negotiations and those look to be going well. So I'm excited about that. I also wanted to mention that the city yesterday settled a case that has been pending since 2016 on the community preference on affordable housing units. And so I don't know how many of you were paying attention to this, and thank you to Xavier who actually saw it first and alerted me to it. But in 2016, 3 African-American women filed suit against the city because they wanted to challenge the city's policy claiming that it violated the Federal Fair Housing Act by, creating some sort of racial segregation or perpetuating racial segregation. The settlement calls for, a reduced 20% set aside for community residents that will go through, I believe it becomes effective immediately through 2029, at which point it will be reduced to 15%. I think when we talk about community preference, it's a double-edged sword. It does have the ability to do what was stated in the lawsuit. And we've seen that happen in more affluent communities where, folks have not been able to gain entry into those units. But in communities like ours, it is a useful tool to ensure that, folks from the community have access to units that are being built in their community. There's also obviously the concern that, people won't be as receptive to accepting these projects in their community if they don't feel like there's a real benefit to it, right? To them, a direct benefit to them. So it's something that we're still discussing, but, my understanding is that the alternative, would have been nothing. And so the city opted to settle in this situation. And it's unfortunate, but again, it is a conversation that needed to be had, because both of those things are true. Last but not least, I wanted to talk about the Julias. Oh, well, no, I'm lying. The Herc, really quickly. I'm sorry, Xavier, give me a second if you could bear with me. But we had two stabbings at the Herc at Randall's Island. Recently, one of them fatal, one of them occurring just a couple of days ago. I just want to say that we have 3,000 folks living at Randall's Island. We have, in the Herc, it's made up primarily of single males, and then they incorporated adult families, which could mean, a parent and an adult, child of whatever sex. It is, quite frankly, inhumane to stuff 3,000 people into one space. They, when initially the first tent opened, they had space for recreational, they had, space where they could just hang out and watch television if they need, if they wanted to. Because keep in mind, these are people that are not from here, don't have, family here, don't have anywhere to go, can't work yet. And they had a, humongous cafeteria, and a lot of those things were considered amenities and removed as part of the mayor's budget crunch. And so now you still have 3,000 people there sleeping on cots, one on top of each other, no privacy, no place to store their stuff. And, to me, it's a miracle, surprising that we've only had 2 incidents. But unfortunately, one of those incidents proved to be deadly. We lost a 24-year-old, Defran, who's from Venezuela. And, my office is working with the federal government now to try to bring his body back home to his mother, which is very, very difficult, not only for our staff, but for his mother. And politically speaking, it's complicated because there are differences, different laws that regulate how this can be done. And so it's taking a lot longer than any of us anticipated that it would. So that, it's not good. And then finally, for real this time, the Burgos. I just want to just be very clear. And I love Eugene. I know Eugene loves the Julia, and I love him for that. And appreciate, all of his guidance on, on the community artists, a community of artists in East Harlem, because I think that they're a valuable asset, and I'm, really proud to have them in my district. But I just wanted to clarify that. So the Hispanic Federation did leave, their lease ended, and that would have triggered an RFP. The city was not sure, EDC was not sure if they wanted to issue an RFP right away, because as many of you know, at La Marqueta, we're going to be undergoing construction because of the Metro North. And so they were considering maybe using that site for programming as well. When they realized they didn't really need it, then they opted to continue and to move forward with the RFP process. However, they've decided that they going to start that in April, anywhere between April through June of this year. In the interim, there have been people that have been making requests, and one of those groups has been the school. The school was brought in as a public school, it's not a charter school. It was brought in, many, many years ago. They are what would be considered an anchor tenant, so which means that the building, occupants have to pay rent. The school pays a good portion of that rent. And so it made it easier for the other groups that were in there to pay a more reduced rate. The school should not be there. The building was not intended to be a school. And we have been looking for alternative spaces for them. Community board has been very active in that search and in those conversations. But in the interim, they saw an opportunity and they did make the ask. I don't blame them. I would have done the same. The city came to me and asked me, what I thought about it. And I said, absolutely not. I like the school. I think that the school is a community resource, right? It's one of our only high schools that actually enrolls primarily young people from East Harlem, which is unique. But Eugene is right. They don't have adequate space for recreational, for eating, for socializing. Is just not an ideal situation. But what I did agree to was that in the interim, we would create an MOU that would allow those kids access to the cafeteria and to the theater and the community space while the spaces were not in use. And otherwise when there's another organization, that there be some sort of a similar model so that the kids do have access to the space. So we are facilitating a conversation in the beginning of February in the evening at the Julia de Burgos to start, the planning process and to hear from the community about what they want. Obviously, my preference is that it stays with the community, that a community, based group stays with it. But when we say stays with it is 2 rooms. There's the theater and the community room downstairs, which has the 2 smaller rooms in the back as well. Those 2 rooms are not free. You have to pay rent. And that is a big responsibility. So whoever gets the RFP, whoever applies for the RFP, has to assume that responsibility. And I want to remind folks that during the pandemic, that space was not programmable. People could not use it, and the Hispanic Federation still had to pay that rent. I believe that they got some level of credit, but it wasn't enough to cover the cost of the expense of having to continue to pay rent, which was not cheap. I don't want to give the amount here, but it was not cheap. Every single month to the city. So, the responsibility, we all have a responsibility now to really engage with our local artists, to engage with, nonprofit organizations from the community that have the financial ability to absorb that responsibility and, that are going to take care of it and allow our community access to it, and that we can all enjoy for many generations to come. But I just want to clear up that the school is not taking over the building. That is absolutely not true, but they did make the ask. And the conversation is still ongoing, so I don't want anybody to freak out. And with that, I conclude my report unless anybody has any questions.
Thank you. Nilsa had her hand up. Nilsa, your question?
Deputy Speaker Ayala. A question on the Julia. You mentioned something about maybe February, maybe having, I don't know if I misunderstood, maybe a talk or bringing a group of not-for-profits and others together. Did I understand that correctly, that you're thinking of putting together?
Yeah, like a community charrette with local stakeholders, local artists. We're looking at maybe the 6th, but we're not. It hasn't been solidified yet, so I don't want to don't take my word for it yet. But it'll be hopefully the first week of February at the Julia.
All right. Is there any thought to with La Marqueta and going what it's going, we're going to eventually do some kind of a partnership where depending on who's running the Julia, that they can once the construction is over at La Marqueta, those services can also translate to that part of town as well, so that you have it like at 106 and at 116.
I mean, we can, but I think that's part of the discussion that, we're looking to have, right? Is to really generate, to come up with ideas and to come up with a plan collectively, right? Because we know that the last time that we had conversations about the Julia, they will, it became very turbulent and it was not, the ideal situation. We want to make sure that, everybody feels heard and everybody feels respected, and that, so I can't speak for, La Marqueta, but La Marqueta is run by EDC, and EDC is not interested in in managing the space. And you know, again, so it's an ongoing. We can bring it up, and we can, you know, obviously put it down as part of the, you know, the suggestions that come up as part of the planning committee.
Thank you. One more question. I'm going to move the meeting back along. Beverly McFarland, if you could speak up.
Good evening, Deputy Speaker. Good evening. Both our governor and our mayor have made no mention of any finances going to public housing, like. And I want to make sure that we mention that money is carved out, adequate money, carved out, because that is the only true affordable housing under Section 9. So we want to make sure that we are saving public housing, and we are saving, because families are coming in and we don't fit this affordable housing criteria. So we want to make sure that this true affordable housing stay affordable under Section 9. And not any Section 8 partnership, grad pack, and any other conversion.
Did you hear all of that?
I heard that, Beverly, but did you have a question?
No. It's a statement calling for preservation of NYCHA to remain Section 9 instead of Section 8 statement. So, yeah.
I agree.
Okay. All right. Thank you. With that, I'm going to move the meeting back on to agenda. Thank you for the significant amount of information, Deputy Speaker. We look forward to seeing you in person when you are fully recovered. And you should bring Milo, the new office staff puppy. So anyway, moving on. Thank you. Gonna go because bridged over from an event, but Tamika Mapp, our district leader and state committee woman, and go back on to our threes, please.
Hi guys. Yes, can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Okay, sorry. So thank you so much, Chair. Thank you so much, Community Board. I'm on my way back to the city now from Albany. I just want to give my report. Today I was in Albany trying to get Sammy's Law and the fiscal year 25 budget, which give New York City the power to set their own speed limits. I'm also helping Safe Streets, making sure we get 10 million in the Department of Transportation capital project budget for our complete streets as well. I'm also was pushing comprehensive sex education, Andrew's Law to end electric shock treatment in New York City, and the TC and CMB anti-discrimination requirements in schools I have been pushing. Don't forget, on January 31st, I have my lobby day. We're going to be tackling the Safe Consumption Act to make sure we put some more safe guardrails inside of there, making sure it's 1,000 feet next to schools, daycare centers, for any other safe injection site that come in, provide some education for safe injection site. I'm also was with the Big IDA today to push making sure we have our internet point reduction insurance program in place. That's set to expire in April 1st, 2024. For those who don't know, that internet point insurance reduction is your defensive driving, which you will save 10% on your car insurance if you took that class. And that is set to expire on April 1st, 2024. So it's urgent elected officials to extend it for another 2 years. That ends my report. As always, you can go to my website, ehcfgg.info. You can give me a call at 347-523-4410. And send me an email at T as in Tom, M as in Mary, A as in Apple, Peter, at cat688ad.com. I'm here if you have any questions. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much. Any questions? Wonderful. Moving along, we're going to go to Sophie Sokar from Senator Serrano's office, and then Tiffany Brown will be next from the Mayor's Community Affairs Unit. So, Sophie.
Good evening, everyone. This is Sophie from Senator Serrano's office. I'm attending virtually today as I'm a little bit still under the weather. As we resume our work in Albany, Senator Serrano is proud to be the sponsor of 54 bills and the co-sponsor of many more. These bills cover a variety of important issues, including environmental conservation in parks, including bills to safeguard parkland, promote trails programs, and regulate pesticide use. arts, culture, and education, including a bill to create criteria for cultural districts, a bill that the senator was happy to discuss with CB11 Economic Development Committee not so long ago, and bills for training medical professionals and art education in schools, public health and safety, including bills to create a state commission to investigate asthma in the South Bronx, and a bill to create a New York State Civilian Complaint Review Board. This morning, the senator spoke at the New York Heat press conference in Albany in support of S2016, which is a bill that would cap utility rates at 6% of income for low to moderate income households, which would save a lot of people in our district a lot of money. Our office will be having offsite constituent hours this Friday at Highbridge Library from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. But if it's easier or you prefer it, we're always at our office Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. at 335 East 100th Street. Or, if it's easier to call us, our office phone number is 212-828-5829. Or if you just want to shoot me an email, my email is ssecor@nysenate.gov. Thanks, everyone.
You have any questions? Seeing, we have Eugene, go ahead.
Sophie, you know when the summer school conference is gonna be yet?
The Somos conference. Yeah. Should be through the 10th.
Yes.
No.
Could you send us some information on when that's gonna be sent to the community board, please?
Yeah, I can absolutely send over those dates to the community board. And I can also send it over. I have your email, Eugene, so I can send over both of those things.
Thank you.
Yes, Beverly.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Sophie, for the update. My question is, do you have a little more information about the civilian complaint board that Senator Serrano is trying to start or work on?
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, it's a bill introduced, as we all know, the New York City has a CCRB, and it would make basically a statewide CCRB. It would be basically the same exact thing. And I could probably quickly look up that bill number for you if you'd like it.
Yep, great. If you could do that and send us an email and we'll disseminate it to the entire board if you're fine with that, Beverly. Thank you. Sound good, Sophie?
Yep, perfect. No problem.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Tiffany Brown, Community Affairs Unit in the Mayor's Office. Tiffany?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Community Board 11. I just have two things I would like to report on. And the first would be our great Mayor Adams and New York City Police Department Commissioner Eric Caban issued an open call to members of the New York City Council to ride with NYPD officers as they patrolled the city and employed the community policing strategies that help drive down overall crime, including violent crimes across the city in 2023. Now, for those who don't know, the City Council passed a bill 586. And with that bill, the bill is asking officers to report on all level contacts, level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. This past Friday, the mayor has vetoed that bill because he believes in police doing police work and not desk work. For every level 1 encounter, that will hold the officers up and they won't be able to do their job effectively. So that's what this piece is about that I just spoke about. The mayor has asked city council so that they can take a look at what's going on with the police officers. He challenges them to ride along, to spend some time, ride along with them in their patrol cars or walk the beat with them and just see what goes on in the day-to-day. And as of today, the only council member who has taken him up on that offer has been Yusuf Salam. So I encourage you, if anyone is interested in finding out more information about this bill, which does affect all of our quality of life concerns that are going on in the street. As it stands, we're already short of officers, and if this is going to take them away from being out there policing, doing the real work, that is a major issue for me, as well as I'm concerned about that. Also, being a New Yorker, that's the first thing I wanted to report on. And the second is our great Mayor Eric Adams announced that thanks to measures implemented to responsibly manage the city's budget and strategically navigate significant financial challenges, the city will be able to restore $10 million in funding for New York City Department of Education, community schools, and make $80 million in new investments in the Summer Rising program, jointly funded by the DOE and the New York City Department of Youth and Community Development, which is a great thing. This past summer, the mayor the mayor had announced that he had the most city wide jobs for our youth, which was 100,000 jobs for our youth this past summer. And all this is stating is that there will be more jobs available, and very happy to announce that our youth and our young kids will have something to do this summer. So that's a win for us as well. And that's all I have to report.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Tiffany. Any questions? Yes, Isaac.
With respects to the first thing you presented on, is the mayor and the NYPD letting local organizers and organizations also ride around with the police to see what they're reporting on, or is this invitation only open to city council members?
As of right now, it's only open to city council. I haven't heard that it's been opened up to anyone else, but if that does change, I will notify CB11.
And would you be kind enough as to notify the mayor and his staff that it would be good if that transparency was also opened up to community members and organizers?
Absolutely. So, and let me just give you guys my contact information. My email address is TI Brown, BROWN at cityhall.nyc.gov. And my contact number is 347-939-3984. Once again, that's 347-939-3984.
Thank you, Eric. All right. Yes, one question. Yep.
Yes. Tiffany, you just announced that the mayor will be providing $10 million in funding to New York City Public Schools for summer racing programs? Did I misunderstood?
Well, he's restoring $10 million in funding for the DOE community schools. Yes, and $8 million in new investments for the Summer Rising program.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Tiffany. Moving on, we have Curtis Young from the Public Advocate's Office. You have your three. You're muted, or we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, you can bring your volume up on your mic.
Okay. Is that better?
Yes, just speak loudly, please.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I will be very brief. I'll start off with something we can all agree on. The Public Advocate released his annual worst landlord list back in December. The worst landlord lists are determined by a number of dangerous, extensive housing violations in their buildings. The violations are categorized by the Department of HPD, and you can find out more by visiting our website, landlordwatchlist.com. There's a lot of great information on who these people are and why they are on the list. As you have been hearing, the public advocate and the city council passed a number of bills that were sponsored by the public advocate back in December. In December, the council passed the public advocate's bill that would ban solitary confinement in all forms. The bill puts in place a system of separation and not de-escalation, not one of isolation. It also presents the opportunity for programming aimed at rehabilitation and correction to be expanded. Banning solitary confinement, the public advocate believes, is good for public safety and helps to end systems of injustice and inequalities. Also, you may know or have heard the city council passed legislation that would enhance police transparency at the end of last year in the form of the bill that was called the How Many Stops Act. This bill was sponsored by the public advocate. And passed with a veto-proof majority by the city council. It will require the NYPD to document all encounters made, allowing for safer communities and greater police accountability. You've heard a lot about that. There's a lot of information out there, a lot of misconceptions around the bills and legislation, but we invite you all to please visit our website at advocate.nyc.gov/press to read about the legislation and to learn exactly what it will do and how it will make our community safer. In total, the public advocate has passed 11 bills by the end of last year. The legislation included public safety bills, housing safety and environmental protection, assistance for homeless New Yorkers, help for veterans to access services, and also reforming many aspects of our legal system. We are in the midst of planning our Black History Month activities. We're planning to have a celebration of Black advocacy on February 26th at the David Dinkins Municipal Building at 1 Center Street. We invite you all to join us. I will put my contact information in the chat box as well as share the information with the board so you all can register to attend. On Monday, we are also honoring the Sikh community with a reception and celebration of Sikh cultures and Sikh New Yorkers, Monday, January 29th. So I will put my information in the chat now and pause for any questions if you have any.
Could you state your contact information, please?
Yes, Curtis Young, Young, CYOUNG at advocate.nyc.gov. Phone number 646-952-1321. And to answer a question earlier, I believe that you can contact the precinct, the NCO, to also organize a ride along, I believe, directly to your local precinct. So don't quote me on that, but I think you can also reach out directly to NCO officers to get in the pipeline.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Okay, thank you for being with us, Curtis, and we look forward to attending in person in the near future. And with that, that concludes our elected officials report, but we will have our Manhattan Borough President's report on behalf of Mark Levine is Porfirio Figueroa.
Good evening, Community Board 11. My name is Porfirio Figueroa, and I am the Community Coordinator and Liaison to Community Boards 11 and 12 for Mark Levine, the Manhattan Borough President, who sends his regards. It's that time again. So the Manhattan Borough President Community Board Applications portal is now open and live on our website. We encourage all who are interested in continuing their stay or their membership with community board to join or reapply, and those who are also interested in joining their civic service to their neighborhoods. It is also time for capital budget requests. Our budgets unit hosted 2 webinars for public schools, city agencies, and not-for-profits on applying for capital funding via our office. And to learn more about those requirements, and to apply for those funds, go to the webinars on our website. And the application closes on February 22nd at 5 p.m. I have 2 announcements to make. One, our Manhattan Borough President Black History Month event will be on Tuesday evening, February the 20th at 6:30 at CCNY. And the Manhattan Borough President State of the Borough is currently scheduled for Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m., March the 3rd at the Fordham Hill Law School. I urge all of you to sign up for our website because there's a lot of information on that. So is there on the website, which is www.manhattanbp.nyc.gov. Last, I want to say the Manhattan Borough President Mark Levine feels that our city has a moral obligation to build a better system that serves New Yorkers with serious mental health illness by acting boldly and quickly to address the human tragedy which continues to play out on our city streets. He has called on the city to improve mental health care for the homeless New Yorkers and to help solve the mental health crisis in New York City with 6-point plan, expand the number of long-term psychiatric beds, increase initiatives to address the severe shortage of clinical staff in behavioral health services, provide concrete steps to develop more supportive housing, expand community-based and peer-led programs, double the intensive mobile treatment teams for street outreach, and give EMS workers the ability to provide opiate withdrawal treatment medication. With that, I can also say that you can see the plan on our website as well. With that, I conclude my report.
Great. Thank you. Any questions? Wonderful. Thank you.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year. We have one more public officials representative to speak, Courtney Bennett from the District Attorney of New York. He had not signed up, but I see him in the list of attendees. Courtney, please.
Hi, Xavier. Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Sorry, I couldn't find the link in the chat or on the site. Otherwise, I would have. So thanks for recognizing me. I'm going to be brief. I want to invite everyone to the tomorrow. In fact, we are hosting a clean slate event to talk about the new clean slate legislation that's been passed, and this allows people who have misdemeanors of 3 years that they've already served on, or felonies for 8 years that they've already served on. This allows them to get those records sealed, and we want to remove any barriers to economic prosperity that we can. So we are hoping that folks will come out. It's going to be at 1 Corinthians Baptist Church on 116th Street and 7th Avenue. It starts at 6 p.m., runs until 8 p.m. You'll be addressed by a number of officials, including Senator Cordell Clare, Councilman Yusuf Salam, and of course, District Attorney Alvin Bragg, and a host of other speakers. It's an all Harlem event, not a Central, West, East. It's for people in Harlem can come out and learn more. You don't need to have a record or anything like that. It's really an informational. So if folks need immediate assistance, we can get them immediate assistance. But it's really for leaders like the community board members to come out and learn more about this information and share it with their constituencies. I also want to let you know that we'll be hosting an East Harlem Leaders Breakfast. You'll be getting information on that very shortly. And Xavier, if there's anyone, obviously you will be invited, but if there's anyone else that you would like to have invited from the board, please reach out to Sharima Harvell or to myself, and we will make sure they're added to the mailing list. And you can also do that when you get your invite. And that's all I have. Any questions?
Yes, Beverly.
Yes, thank you for the update and information. In regards to your clean slate event, would this also be for people who have felonies or convictions or whatever for sex offense?
It's for people who I don't believe sex offenses are covered under the legislation, but they should come and learn more about it so they can get an understanding of what is covered and what's not.
Thank you. Candy, your question.
That event that you're having, thank you for recognizing me, Chair. That event that you're having, Mr. Bennett, are you gonna have a hybrid as well, or is just you have to be there in person?
There's no hybrid option. You have to be there in person.
So where can you also get more information about that? So like that we can also disseminate it to our, to the residents in the community so they can have
If
awareness.
you give me your email address, we've been sending it out broadly, but if you give me your email address, I will make sure that you get it directly this evening.
I will do that, but you know, a lot of people in our community don't always use internet. So if you can make it available for those residents, I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
If you could, what was the date again?
It's tomorrow, the
Yeah, so
24th.
tomorrow is the date, yeah. In the future, it'll be helpful. There are people who do not have access to the internet in our community, and we also keep flyers that are accessible to those who drop in. So for when we have a longer runway. But thank you.
And when we have flyers, should we just drop them by the community board office?
Absolutely. Come on by.
Okay. And we'll bring some flyers tomorrow early. We'll try to do that.
All right.
And
but
yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody
Thank
who
you,
needs
Courtney.
it, just let me know. You're welcome. Thank
Okay.
you. I appreciate that.
All right. Finally, that concludes our public officials reports. We're now going to move on the meeting. The minutes from, we're now moving into the business session. For those that aren't aware, is your first time attending a community board meeting. This is for board business. Only board members will be recognized. We will now go on with the adoption of the board minutes. The minutes from the last full board meeting were distributed ahead of time by the board office. If there are no objections, we will adopt the minutes from that meeting. Board members, if you object to adopting minutes, you may raise your hand or wait to be recognized. Okay. Seeing no objections, the minutes from the last full board meeting are adopted. They will soon be available on the CB11 website. There's the chair's report. I'd like to take a moment of silence for one of our former board members who had served, Alexandra Vaseo. Was just brought to my attention. She had served back, I think, 08, 09, if I recall correctly, was when, and I want to thank several of our members here, Joel Jones and Don Sanders and a few others who remember her service more intimately. So just a moment of silence, please, for those that have helped pave the way for us. Thank you. Alessandra was a real champion for seniors, by the way, and that's a part of our community we have to keep in mind, our elders, and they're the ones who pass on the torch of wisdom. With that, my chair report, I will have a more robust written report next month, but suffice it to say, I've hit the ground running a lot. In addition to the normal meetings that are reported on, I've been listening to and having constituent meetings where different groups, now that we've come out of the, even though COVID is still a little bit virulent, but it's not as devastating as it once was, we're listening and having the kind of chat and choose and getting feedback from the community and what they'd like to see. I'm encouraging, now that we're starting to build that rapport, I'll be grabbing chairs as they are available from our various committees. If you're available, can pop out and say hi, get to know your fellow community members. Please come and join me. It's a good opportunity to listen, because not always can they make it to our events, even though it's on the calendar. And they also appreciate the extension of meeting them where they're at. That is one of the main things I've been attending. I'm going to keep the rest of it for next month so you can ask any questions, so we can keep the meeting moving along and get you home on time. And next, we'll pass on to the district manager's report.
I'll have any questions for Xavier. Good evening, folks. Just wanted to share a couple of things from the report. As was referenced earlier in Deputy Speaker Ayala's report, the mayor released the preliminary budget for 2025. Just wanted to alert folks that the announcement and the materials that are specific to Community Board 11 are available on our website. If you go to the announcements page, it's right on the homepage. Just scroll down, click announcements. There'll be a link to the press release from the mayor, as well as a link to the documents that are Community District 11 specific, including the register of budget requests, which includes responses to our budget requests submitted last Halloween. Community Board 11's committees will be reviewing the preliminary budget document and preparing comments to be submitted to our District Needs Committee for inclusion in the board's written response to the mayor, which will be voted on by the full board on February 27th. Another thing that I wanted to add to that was spoken to earlier by the Deputy Speaker as it relates to community preference and the changes that are now imminent with regards to that. 50% expectation that, many have become accustomed to. I learned from HPD this afternoon that all projects that are in marketing before April 22nd of this year will still have the 50% community preference. Projects beginning marketing from April 22nd on will have the new 20% preference until April 30th of 2029, at which point the preference drops to 15%. Then the other thing I wanted to highlight is because the Department of City Planning has not kept us busy enough the last couple of months with the City of Yes. They have their last phase of City of Yes, is the City of Yes for housing opportunity. DCP is beginning to host a series of monthly virtual information sessions for their City of Yes for housing opportunity proposal. The schedule of sessions begins on January 30th and runs through April 17th. The full list is included in my district manager's report, as well as links to register for these sessions and details about the proposal. That's all I have.
Any questions for Angel? Okay. For those of you, just as a quick note, the 50% community preference is something we also reinforced during the 2017 rezoning. And this is a significant hit to our community and will challenge us with future development. So keep that in mind. Yes, Jessica.
This is the right place, but it's one size fits all communities doesn't work well. I think when it was spoken about, the kind of pros and cons of community preference were brought up, where it works well and why, and where it's exclusionary and why. So is there some sort of policy framework that would kind of enable it to work where it should and to not be exclusionary where it shouldn't? I mean, that's a nuanced consideration, but if there's some sort of an equity framework overlay that would allow the percentage to be set based on a history, right? As opposed to just a blanket of everywhere gets the same percentage, that may be more appropriate. So when it comes up again, you should let the person know that may be consideration.
I think, and I appreciate that comment, Jessica. The genesis of the new ideal will germinate from here at community boards and our advocacy. This was a challenge that had been pushed back as it was reported legally, and they finally settled. So I think there's a comment from that should come from us at the right time as we see how this is going to impact the community. So thank you. Jessica Elliott is in transit. She was attending to board business matter on our behalf. So we will pass it on to the secretary's report, or just to introduce yourself right now.
Kind of shocking. Good evening, everyone. Rosa Diaz. Well, most of you I know. Hi. Hopefully you received my email and my text, and if you didn't, please see me. That's it. Thank you.
I'd like to welcome Rosa and Claudia and Stephanie when she gets here. So our new officers. All right. Yeah, there we go. Next, we're going to move along to our committee. Sorry, I had to pull it up. It's so much easier when it's on paper. Committee reports and action items. First up is going to be housing. Again, come on up, John. Well, we know when to start. The ground rules, again, don't speak until you granted the floor. Board members, if you have questions about the board business and you wish to make a motion, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized. Thank you so much, Khalid. The chat, not for back and forth, and please keep your questions and comments brief and on topic to the discussion. Votes will be conducted by acclamation unless necessary for a roll call. Go ahead, John.
I like to face the folks. I don't want to be talking with my back to them. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. John Green here. May I be the last to wish you a happy new year. Basically, the minutes for the housing committee are basically for entertainment purposes only. But what I will say is that we had a guest speaker, State Senator Cordell Clear came in and explained two bills that was before the state senate that pertains to housing, and basically that was our meeting. We didn't have anything else. So, but it was very informative what the senator told us, and that's it.
Thank you, John. Next is, if there are no questions, do you have a question?
Okay. Well, the first bill is a bill that will allow tenants to purchase the building if the landlord wants to sell, instead of it being sold out from under them, and then they'll have to find somewhere else to live. The second bill was for people who are wrongfully evicted, that if they are, that there is a, a mechanism that will get them back into their homes as quickly as possible. I don't have the numbers; they escape me at the moment. But if you want to know the state the bill numbers, contact me and I will get that information to you. Okay. Any other questions? Crickets?
Thank you. Next is licenses. Thank you, John. Next is licenses and permits. Madam. Over to the mic, please. It's for the recording.
It is great.
All right, good evening, everyone. I think we only had two liquor licenses. First one was Adrian E. Jimena Corp., class change application for wine, beer, and cider license. It's at 339 East 108th Street. Committee recommended that application be approved. Second one was 1259 Park Avenue, doing business as the Guthrie Inn. Renewal application for a full liquor license. They're at 1259 Park Avenue. Committee recommended that application be approved. And then we had one cannabis retail dispensary license. I actually think the window was closed, but regardless of that, they submitted no documents and did not attend, so they were denied. That's it.
Any questions? Okay, if there are no objections, I will bundle the all three of those items. Right, it's three. 1, 2, 3, and then yeah, all three of those. Motion to approve, Nilsa. Okay, second, Malik. Second.
Yes.
All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Great. Thank you. Next, we have, I'm sorry. We're going to go back to environment, open space and parks. Human services didn't have quorum. You don't. Okay. All right. We will give Jess a moment to settle so she can give EOSP and the action item there. Youth and education. Asher Rodriguez, our new chair. Youth and education. An applause. Wonderful. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. So basically, all that we did last month was we shortened our mission statement, because if anyone was in our previous meetings knows that it became an essay more than a statement. So we're going to work on sending that out to the committee, hopefully this week. And we also had the presentation from Children's Aid. Basically, the plans for the new building have been finalized, and they just did an overview of the plans for the building. So, yeah, short and sweet.
Okay, wonderful. Any questions? Jessica Morris. Okay, great. Thank you. Welcome aboard. Need another moment. All right, Jose. Jose, public safety and transportation. You have 2 action items.
Don Sanders just tried to trip me. Want to say that? All right, we have two action items this month. We had a motion made by Kenneth Crouch and seconded by Claudia Perez. We are opposing relocating the M35 terminal from Lexington between 125th, 126th to East 125th Street between Lexington and Third Avenue. Make it simple. Currently, the M35 goes to 126, comes south on Lexington. We had made suggestions, some motions from this community board, things that we wanted from the, it's not DOT, it is MTA in regards to M35. Other stops in the Bronx, stops in Queens, possibly going across Manhattan to make it useful. However, they've disregarded all of that, and instead they decided to move the stop from 126th to 125th. However, DOT, due to public safety issues, severe public safety issues, accidents with pedestrians and the general population there that is of some consequences, that left turn, that south turn, if you're going west on 125th, is now illegal. You cannot make that left turn. So a pedestrian, so a driver who drives a vehicle that's about 15, 18 feet, they find that to be of unsafe nature to make that left turn. However, now the MTA wants to make a 30, 40, 50-foot bus make that left turn. So you see where the lack of, it's really incredible what they're trying to do. I sent them a very happy email in the beginning. Our chair kind of told me not to be so happy with them. But I wanted to make sure that we oppose it as a board. That's why we took it to committee to make sure that, it's not just an email from me as chair of public safety, but it's a board decision because obviously there is a lot of issues in regards to making that transition to where they currently want it. So that's that. The second one, my favorite. We had a motion by Carlos Diaz, Charlie, seconded by Michelle Wilshire Clements to provide a letter to DOT and Honorary Diana Ayala expressing our concerns, not their concerns, our concerns and utter disappointment with the intended pedestrian safety infrastructure at 117th Street and Pleasant Avenue between the mall. Basically, this project was supposed to be for pedestrians to walk safely. When this happened, the DOT plan was, they thought that most people would walk to 120 to 116 where the sidewalk is significantly larger. That's not what's happening. They walk on 117th, but because of the trees and the building staircases and everything, it's a very narrow space. It's very tight. This project was basically took half a lane of traffic to make it pedestrian walkway. Our very main request, which we were promised would happen, was that there would be something solid between the pedestrians and the vehicles. And they agreed. We went forward with that. That has not happened. It is now over a year. They keep telling us that they have granite blocks, but they can't cut granite. I love when Vinny looked up right now. They can't cut granite to the right size. They're too big. They take up too much space. So apparently we don't have the technology to cut granite to the right size. The DOT cannot find a vendor that can cut granite to the right side. And they keep telling us that they're trying to put different things. And what happens now is that they have these plastic bollards that people drive over. And you see cars there every day. They're just parked. So honestly, at this point, it's kind of a failure of a project because for the most part, cars are in that space. So we shouldn't have even done it. So we're sending this letter to make sure, and hopefully through this letter, we will be able to get something that we were promised from the inception of this project. That's all I got.
Great question, Jason, and then Nelson. Your question. Oh, you're ready. Nelson, your question.
I send pictures all the time. It's just at this point, it's like, it's a parking lot. That's all it is.
He's pretty thorough on that. So yeah. Jason, you have a question now. Well, with there no other questions, we'll take number 5. A motion was made by Kenneth Crouch and seconded by Claudia Perez to oppose the relocating of the M35 terminal from Lexington Avenue between 125th and 126th to East 125th Street between Lexington and 3rd Avenues. The motion passed unanimously. A motion to Jason? Second. By Eugene. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Jessica Morris abstains. The motion carries. Next is number 6. A motion was made by Carlos Diaz and seconded by Michelle Wiltshire Clement to provide a letter to NYC DOT and Honorable Diana Ayala expressing their concerns and disappointment with the intended pedestrian safety infrastructure on East 117th Street and Pleasant Avenue. The motion passed unanimously. Is there a motion to adopt, Nilsa? Second is, I'm going to give this one to John, if you don't mind, Jason. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Okay, thank you very much. Next, we're going to have Environment, Open Space and Parks, and they have one action item. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Apologies for being late. We had a great meeting this past month. We had our regular Parks and Recreations folks there giving their informational updates, as well as Randall's Island Park Alliance, and we look forward to having Department of Sanitation in our presence at our upcoming meeting next Thursday on February 1st. And we also spoke with DEP at length today on a tour, and they are in contact with us to help get them some regular attendance at our parks meetings. Just really quickly to speak to the event today, we'll do a debrief at our meeting next Thursday, but thank you to Russell Schuler for showing up today and doing the site tour with the Mayor's Office of Climate and Environmental Justice. It was great. It was great to see all the city agencies together. Well, I think DOT was missing, but they were there in spirit. Apparently they all had COVID or something. But we talked about and walked through they're doing a grant proposal for that's due in February, and they don't need anything from us at this time, but it's a multi-step grant process and grant project, and a part of it is to do with the drainage from this Central Harlem and East Harlem, and how it relates to the Mir and Central Park. But also one of the requests that we had made with our district budget request was the feasibility study for 106th Street corridor as it relates to catchment basins or some sort of green infrastructure there. And they're incorporating that in this grant proposal as one piece of a larger puzzle. And I think a lot of this grant is to sort of prove concept for a lot of these different ideas and implementations to get them widespread. So we're going to talk about that, and Russell's going to help me debrief on Thursday next week. So we look forward to that. We had a presentation from Randall's Island Park Alliance at our last meeting for the a couple, I don't know how long ago it was at this point, but back in the day, we had given Randall's Island Park Alliance a letter of support for a grant funding proposal to get an analysis of the trees on Randall's Island. So with that grant, they won it. They were able to do sort of to build an understanding of what sort of invasive trees they have on their on the island, and how can they promote the growth and success of trees generally. So that having been part of that first grant, this is the second follow-up grant to that, to sort of put action behind that management plan for their forestry management. And a lot of, what we talked about, and I think Randall's Island has gotten really great at over the last couple of years is, what is the sort of give back to East Harlem, right? So, there's elements of that grant proposal that would, potentially help to bring trees into the fabric of East Harlem. It would potentially, it would be providing training to, majority East Harlem residents for, pruning of trees and other sort of tree maintenance elements. So, I think when they learn, they're sharing the knowledge with us as a community board, and hopefully we're sharing that with our community. So that is our one action item, is the continuation of support for Randall's Island to the second phase of this grant. And then before we get to the action item, we also had a presentation from We Act that we're kind of having larger discussions about what are all the sort of tools that we might have at our disposal when it comes to mitigating, climate risks in our neighborhood. So I think that's more of an ongoing conversation, but they are coming, well, we're going to be voting at our February meeting for this grant opportunity, which would be looking at vegetated bus shelters. So not only bus shelters that already exist, maybe that's sort of, again, a proof of concept where we're able to, they're able to get funding to apply, a way to retain water, reduce heat, and, green the neighborhood on an existing bus shelter. But the idea is that DOT apparently has some sort of large bus shelter bid coming in 2025, and that this would be in advance of that. So hopefully that's something that they could integrate as they're providing new structures. And we could, obviously not all of our bus stops have bus structures. So could this be something that we bring in? So we'll be considering that at our next meeting. And we also talked about Earth Day planning and delegation. And thanks to the Museum of the City of New York, they got back to us, and we will be hosting the event on, I think it's the Friday before Earth Day, which I believe is April 19th. And the committee is in discussion about, do we even need this room at all? Because it's great when we talk at each other, but it's more fun to be out on the patio in the daytime and sharing experiences together in a more one-on-one kind of basis. So we'll be continuing to discuss that, but let me find my action item. A motion was made, or do you want to read it, Xavier? Any questions before we go to the action item? Beverly?
In regards to the statement you made regarding the catch basin.
Yeah.
You also mentioned it being something around 160. Would that be in conflict, not conflict, but be also include what's happening in the Second Avenue subway?
Good question. It would potentially tie into that. I think the funding for that, I think, is about $17 million, and it would be as we requested in the budget for a feasibility study. Essentially, it would get us to like 60% of design. So there would still be funding that would be needed to get it to the end of that design and the implementation of it. And I think, but there are these sort of larger conversations as with the Second Avenue subway coming in. How does that tie in? Because the idea is to bring a connection point from the Central Park to the East River, which would touch the state.
Jessica Morris.
Yes. It's straight from the vision plan for Resilient East Harlem, and Star Whitehouse was there with us today. So we're moving action. I remember when we were in the meeting and they said how improbable and unlikely and how it would never work. And, here we are actually trying to see how we could make it work. So it's great to see things move forward in that way.
Wonderful. No further questions. Our action item? Yes, okay. So we had Jessica Yvonne, I'll just.
Yes, a motion was made by Jewel Jones and seconded by Rosa Diaz to provide a letter of support for the grant application for community forest management for Randall's Island Park Island.
Jason. And second, Bev. Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Okay. Moving on, economic development and culture. Giselle.
Good evening, everyone. During our January meeting, we made a few updates to our agenda. So as opposed to having the same informational updates from the same organizations, Angel and I decided to open it up and make it a little bit more general in wording. So for the record, anyone in East Harlem who would like to present to the Economic Development and Culture Committee, who is a business development organization, workforce development organization, or arts and culture organization, you're welcome to sign up and present to us. We had several presentations. We had a Sage Workspace come and present and show us, introduce to us their new business in East Harlem. We had Dr. Adam Aponte as well as a guest. We had a conversation and a presentation from the East River Plaza from Rafaela Petrozek, and she was able to give us some updates on currently where the target stands, and if there are any current people interested in the space. We had Gabriela Gonzalez from Acacia Arts, Sendero Verde, also present to us and pretty much just let us know that they are currently in a phase where they aren't taking community input as of now, but they soon will be. So we'll be able to be a part of that discussion. We worked on our committee goals for 2024. We had a district needs and budget conversation from Anne Marie, our liaison. And and we also had our vote, our committee vote on the city of Yes. So thank you, Jason, for collaborating with us on that. Our action item tonight is, hold on. A motion to support the designation of East Harlem as a cultural district. Motion was seconded by Christina Johnson and passed unanimously. Are there any questions?
Right. So, and great. So, well, Claudia, you wanted to make a motion? We'll get this one. So, to accept the committee's recommendation, you go ahead.
Xavier, can I make a friendly amendment?
Yes, you may.
Just to add in the reference to Senator Serrano's bill, the 253A, if it's okay with the committee.
There are no objections. Yep.
Okay.
So moved and accepted to include the S253A referencing the pathway for naming a cultural district. Asher. Second. Okay. With the friendly amendment.
Okay. And I just want to remind everybody that Restaurant Week has started.
Oh, hold on. Let me just 2 seconds. Let me finish the roll. Let me get all those in favor. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Now, your announcement.
Restaurant Week has started. It started on January 16th through February 4th. Go out and enjoy your favorite restaurants in East Harlem. Okay.
Yeah, go support local, buy local. Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Giselle. All right, next we have land use, landmarks, and planning.
Good evening, family. Jason. I'm your, CB11 land use chair. Okie dokie, let's talk about City of Yes, economic opportunity. So the City of Yes for economic opportunity primary zoning resolution sections were affected. The proposed zoning text amendment has 4 overlapping goals divided into 18 proposals and modifications of use groups. The proposal recognizes these current uses into more coherent categories. That being said, that's the concept. Context. It's a citywide zoning text amendment that affects 59 community boards, 1,127 pages, 40 pages that were driven by all of the community boards across the city for questions and answers. Another document that was provided for our deliberation was the land use consultant letter, Mr. George James, and as Giselle expressed to you, economic development's recommendations. As it relates to civic engagement, the community board, and particularly land use, held 4 meetings. Economic development, 1 meeting. Public session was 1. On January 24th, tomorrow, the City Planning Commission is holding a public hearing as it relates to this. So you still have opportunities to opine and or provide your comment as an individual. Obviously, tonight we're going to vote and ratify what land use presented in the resolution that was sent to you guys prior to this meeting. And from what I was expressed to, there hasn't been a date. I don't know if it's been designated yet as from DCP, but we were told that the public will still have rights to engage up to February 15th. Any changes?
Any questions?
Cool. So final piece, community board members that I would definitely like to give some not special kudos is probably not the right word, but to say thank you for your efforts. Obviously, land use and economic development. As for land use, I would like to thank Jessica Morris, Jessica Elliott, and for economic development, Mark Bogurski, forgive me if I shouted the last name, and Sharon Lynch. So as it's expressed in the agenda, it says here that land use, Jessica Morris made a motion to adopt the recommendations for the 18 proposals included in land use application that's expressed in your agenda that was given to you prior to this meeting for the city of Yes for economic opportunity. The motion was seconded by Dem Briha, and just for clarification, it did pass unanimously with the exception of Vincent Torres.
Okay. What? It passed unanimously according to Angel. So one real quick before we entertain a motion, just for clarification, that was made with 18 proposals. I want to applaud the work of LLP. You guys did a brilliant job, met multiple times. Thank you very much. And it was 18 proposals, some of which had conditions that was included within your packet of information, just for clarity's sake. Most, yeah. So again, is there a motion to accept the committee's recommendations for the 18 proposals, including the land use application N240010ZRY and N240011ZRY City of Yes for economic opportunity? Nelson Arama? Okay, Malik McCullough? Second. We already got a second. Thank you, though, Carlos. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, opposed, Eugene Rodriguez. Any abstentions? The motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, team. Next up is executive. I will keep it very brief. It's for information purposes only. However, I will talk directly to chairs. Where you still have minutes missing, I need you to get caught up on your minutes. Any outstanding minutes. In case there's an audit, we have to be able to deliver those. And the people who go through the audit are the staff. So that's my one recommendation, in addition to calling all those people who have been absent. Rosa will be working with you, chairs. Again, check, you can call the staff. You should have access to your records and attendance. So those are my two notes from executive. With that, there's no district needs and budget report. They'll be meeting next week due to the delivery of the preliminary budget. Next is new business. Do we have any new business? Okay, seeing there are no hands. Any old business? No hands. Okay, any announcements? Malik.
I just wanted to thank Vincent Torres and all the other community board members that donated the toys for the toy drive last month. It went well, with the success. And we probably gave probably over 200 toys to the different kids, and thank you.
So thank you for that. Also, in addition to the work and what you combined, and thank you, Malik, for your leadership and providing for that. And also a quick shout out for our Three Kings Day event with Positive Workforce. For those that were able to come out too, it takes a village and we're getting it done. So thank you, gentlemen, and everyone in this room for your service on all levels. With that, seeing there, no, you have an announcement.
Yes, sorry. It's okay. The Chancellor's Town Hall in District 4 is going to be February 5th at Tito Puente Complex. We have in our meeting at 6 p.m., but the Chancellor will be there from 6:30 to 7:30. Everyone is welcome to come in. The address is in 109th Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenue. So Tito Puente Complex, February 5th. It's a Monday. Please join in person. There will be translation only in person and live stream. Thank you.
Well, with that, if there are no more announcements, call the roll, please, Rosa.
Okay. Last roll call, I promise. Okay. Jose Altamirano. Stephanie Arroyo. Hold on. April Autry. Thank you. Mark Bogurski. Yes. Adem Briha. Thank you. Kareem Kauser. Devan Cronshaw. Kenneth Crouch. Thank you. Carlos Diaz.
Present.
Thank you. Rosa Diaz, that's me. Angela Donadell, excuse. Jessica Elliott. Ah, yay. Judy Febrado. Thank you. Brandon Gillespie. David Giordano. Thank you. John Green. Annie Hansen. Wanda Hopkins. Sorry, Wanda Hopkins. Thank you. Christina Johnson. Jewel Jones. Thank you. Sharon Lynch. Thank you. Beverly McFarlane. Thank you. Giselle Malave. Sage Mason. Excuse. Malik
Present.
McCullough.
President.
Thank you. Jennifer Mayer. Okay. Alicia Miranda. Alicia Miranda. Okay. Jessica Morris. Nilsa Orama. Beverly Pavon. Claudia Perez. Nicolas Reyes. Asher Rodriguez. Thank you. Eugene Rodriguez. Don Sanders. Xavier Santiago. Yes, yes. Isaac Scott. Thank you. Russell Schiller. Thank you. Loretta So, excuse. Vincent Torres. Thank you. Anne Marie Vasquez. Jason Villanueva. Gracias. Candy Vives Vasquez.
Yeah, I'm
Excuse.
present. I'm present.
Oh, okay.
I'm on Zoom. I'm on Zoom.
I see you. I see you. Thank you. Jason Wu. Okay. Yay, Zoom. Thank you.
That concludes our meeting, everyone. Have a happy January. We'll see you in February. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Yeah.